Hello there, and welcome back. My name is Reimer, I don't rhyme, and about a month ago I made a video about purchasing the new Osmo Pocket 3 for both vlogging and studio setups for me. This was in relation to my upcoming trip to Harrison, Arkansas to film Constar the Motion Picture, which is in less than a week. I'll be there, so I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you. This is the camera I'm going to be bringing along. And since then, I have filmed my film Blue Nose, which is a Constar crossover in Star Trek Online. This camera was a fantastic help to making that film. And since I made the initial video talking about it, I've made quite a few changes and bought some gear and accessories for this thing because it's probably the best piece of tech that I've really encountered over the past little bit, and it's really reinvigorated my interest for making content, making fan films, stuff like that. And I've wanted to talk about all the stuff that I've invested in when it comes to this camera. It's a bit of a small collection right now, but it is still growing, and my bank account continues to shrink, but I believe it's a really good investment for my craft. So I'm going to show you guys some of that.
Sean.
Fuck. This is why you do not drink coffee while you are filming. Jeepers. So I think a good place to start is what actually came with the Pocket 3, because I went a little bit extra and got the Creator Combo, which I absolutely would recommend, because the stuff you're getting in this for an extra $100, it completely makes up for the cost. My favorite accessory of that being the DJI Mic 2. So this works, you just power this on and it will automatically connect to the Osmo, and then you can even press the orange button right there and it will record internally at 32-bit float if you really want to. That came in handy for doing the Tesla Scream in Blue Nose. And it's really good if you need to edit some audio that peaked or levels that aren't quite high enough. This is really good for that. From what I've seen, the audio recorded directly on here tends to be a little bit on the low side, so you will have to bump up that gain, do a little bit of mixing. But if you're taking it straight from the Osmo, it's absolutely fantastic. And it recently got a firmware update to where the EQ is a bit better, because there were some times where it was sounding a bit muffled, so now it's a bit of a cleaner sound. So this is a test of the DJI Mic 2 before the firmware update. I'm really hoping for some improvements. I'm gonna try that over my break. I got 32-bit going and also internally on here, so let's see. So this is a test of the Mic 2 after the firmware update. So again, same settings, haven't touched a thing besides the software, also recording 32-bit. So let's see. I am right now using the Blue Yeti. I do plan on upgrading my mic at some point in the future. I'm thinking of a Shure MV7 Plus, but for now, the Blue Yeti's doing a fantastic job for once, because like I referenced in my original video, the Yeti seemed to be struggling with multiple devices that I was using, including my iPhone, including even my PlayStation for some live streaming content. So I'm glad the Osmo seems to be handling it pretty well. And then I'm rocking mines! Yes! I am actually rocking mines. Can you believe that? So we talked about the mic. In the Creator Combo, it comes with a little sturdy case. So in the case, it'll fit the Osmo, and the Osmo will fit in here and in the little pouch that they give you. It might be a little bit of a tight squeeze, just rearrange some things in there. Don't try and stuff it too much. So inside the case, you have room for a couple lenses. There is one that comes with the Creator Combo, and it is the wide angle from DJI. I haven't used the wide angles too much, and that goes for the Freewell one that I have as well. We'll cover that in a minute, but if I put that on right now, it's a wide angle, so as you can see, it really broadens up the space a little bit. I don't use this a whole lot, but it is there when I need it. The second lens I have in here is a variable ND filter from K&F. Or K&F Concepts, I think that's their name. This is their ND2 to ND32 lens. So this is going to be really handy for when I go to Harrison and I don't necessarily have the time to swap ND filters. That didn't stop me from getting some dedicated NDs, but this is going to be really practical when I'm in a run and gun type situation. Will I get their 32 to 512? I don't quite know. I'm not going to be needing a 512, but something like an ND64 I have found a need for. I haven't gone too much higher than that as of yet. Also in the creator combo, you have a mini tripod here. So this will go on the bottom of the little screw bit that's included in here. That isn't the external battery, as well as the external battery. What I find is that sometimes this can overheat, so I try and use the one that's not a battery as much as possible. But if you need some extra juice, this is going to be good for Harrison, along with the portable battery pack that I got as well. And then you got some charging cables, some microfiber cloths. One thing I will mention, it does come with an SD card reader. So you just put the little tiny SD card in here, and then you can stick that in your Mac or computer or what have you. That's why I really like having the new Apple Silicon Macs. I specifically have the M1 Max. Still, the M1 Max tends to, like, it's a workhorse. I don't feel the need to really upgrade. There was a ghost. Currently, when it comes to an SD card, I use, let me find it on Amazon, I'll show you a picture. I use the SanDisk Extreme. I use the 256, but I would be interested in possibly upgrading to a 1 terabyte, but I still find there's plenty of space in here so far, even with me shooting a bunch of stuff and not deleting anything, but your use may vary. I know the Osmo Pocket needs an SD card that has some faster speeds, so keep that in mind. The SanDisk is at a read speed of 190 megabits per second, so I would use that as a reference. I find this works very, very well in Final Cut. It has no problems importing. I did use HitFilm for Blue Nose to get some of the CGI stuff done. HitFilm has not aged well. I'm tempted to make an entire video about how downhill HitFilm has gone, which is something that disappoints me as someone that's been using that software since I was a kid to do VFX. But that'll come in the future, inevitably, because I do not have very nice words to say in regards to that and the performance.
You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy Adobe, not become just like them.
That's pretty much everything worth mentioning in the Creator Combo Pack. So in terms of other accessories, the two major ones are not one, but two sets of ND filters. The first ones that I got right off the bat were from a company called Newer. I think that's their name. So this is the 4-piece set. It includes an ND16, an ND64, an ND256, and a CPL filter. The CPL filter is a polarized filter which can help with reflections, glare, and improve the vibrancy of colors. I haven't found myself using it a whole lot, but I find this is particularly good, at least from what I've seen on the Osmo Pocket 3 subreddit, for reducing reflections of cars in cinematic shots. Of the ND filters in this set I use the most, I use the ND64 the most. I find the 16 is a bit weak in sunny conditions, and the 256 is too strong in those circumstances, but obviously different conditions will require some different lenses. What I like about these in particular is they're slim enough to where if I close the Pocket 3, it'll close completely. You don't have to worry about the motors malfunctioning at all. So that's what's good about these. The Freewell ones, on the other hand, these are all too big to use while still on the Osmo and you want to close it. So please take these off before closing the Osmo. My intention when I was buying the Freewell ones, it wasn't for the actual ND filters, but I find they do come in handy when you're trying to use some of the extras in here that I was interested in. So there's an ND8, 32, and 128. Again, I find the 32 is the most useful in this circumstance. I did find some situations in Blue Nose when shooting that where I was overexposed, even lowering the ISO all the way, and I wanted to use one of the 64s in here, but I also wanted to use probably my favorite lens as part of this, which was the anamorphic lens, because I really wanted some natural lens flares. I wanted to give the film a cinematic look. So I was limited to the ones in here for what I could stack onto that anamorphic lens. So as you can see with the filter on, I appear way skinnier than normal. So does everything around me. So the idea is it squeezes the footage. To de-squeeze it, you either want to add 10% onto the x-axis or reduce the y-axis scale by 10%. It's a 1.1 times squeeze on here. So 10% is going to be the number you're looking for. This will create some really nice looking lens flares. Like if I show you the lamp behind me, you should see some blue streaks. The other lenses in here, you have a wide angle lens. To use the wide angle, you actually have to stack it onto the macro lens. Again, the wide angle I don't tend to use a whole lot, but here's what that one looks like. Let me know if you like this wide angle or the DJI wide angle more. Me personally, I think the DJI one is less maintenance, less of a hassle than stacking two filters, but it makes up for it by being a macro lens. So obviously you guys can't see anything, but if I get really close, you can see some details here. And look at that beard, I gotta trim that. I use this lens for getting some really nice slow-mo eyeball shots in Blue Nose. I really adore those shots. It looked fantastic. I highly recommend 120 FPS 4K D-Log slow-mo using the macro. Try it out. You're going to get some really nice results out of it. Freewell did a really good job with these. And then in terms of miscellaneous accessories, one that I find extremely handy, this is by a brand called Sunny Life. There are multiple of these out on Amazon. They usually run no more than like 25 bucks Canadian. These are magnetic little tripod holders. So they'll stick on a magnetic surface and you can set the Osmo up to active track. I was doing this over at the Johnny Gaudreau Memorial by the Saddle Dome. I just stuck the Osmo on a light pole and I had the mic and I just started talking. It's really great on the go when you don't want to bring around a giant tripod. It was really great sticking on my ceiling as well on my light rack up here to get a nice aerial shot in Blue Nose, which had a really nice crossfade transition with Sanders out of the chair versus Sanders in the chair. Very handy, this thing. You'd be surprised the amount of metal in the world that you can stick this on. Speaking of tripods, one unfortunate thing I had to do was buy a new tripod, because what I was using for a while, what this ring light that I'm using right now came with was this, and you could take the feet of the ring light and stick it on, well, not here, onto the broken bit. As soon as I got the Osmo, fittingly, this stupid thing decided to kill itself.
It has ceased to be. It's expired and gone to meet its maker.
But the reason I keep this is because you can stick the Osmo on the end here and then extend this all the way, and you pretty much got a selfie stick that you can use for crane shots. I didn't end up trying that in Blue Nose because I was a little strapped for the team that I had. The team was me. But it's definitely useful for some shots I'd like to get in the future. But the tripod I ended up getting was, it's an Amazon Basics tripod. People diss Amazon Basics. I have Amazon Basics work pants. I have a shirt from them. And now I have a tripod from them. I kind of like it. So, you know what, Jeffrey? You might look like a giant thumb, but your basic stuff isn't half bad. And I gotta say, Jeffrey Bezos did a really good job doing a British accent when he played Nardole on Doctor Who. And then the last accessory that I got for this, specifically for this, I actually have on right now. And let me just take this off. I don't think I'm going to be using this very much, but it's good when I'm on the go. It's magnetic light. I had to kind of take some tape or some glue and kind of stick it on the Osmo to get this magnetic light on. But it'll be good for a fill light when I'm on the go, or if I just need something else for the studio stuff. I do want to get some better lighting. That is admittedly the one area which I continue to struggle with and I need to get better at. I need to learn lighting. That's my resolution for, I guess, the rest of the year and going into next year, learn lighting. So yeah, as you can see, I've kind of gone ballistic with some of the accessories, and I still want more. I still want a whole lot more accessories, and then there's more coming out too. I keep hearing rumors about a telephoto lens. I don't know how that would necessarily work on here, but I'm in, because the one use case I can still see my iPhone being used for is the telephoto, getting those zoom shots. Speaking of the iPhone, Apple just announced the iPhone 16 Pro, and my response to it for the first time is honestly considering last year's to save money.
Blasphemer!
Maybe it's just part of becoming an adult. I don't know. I'm really cynical when it comes to it. Even the camera improvements, it's like, yay, you added 4K 120. I have it on here. If I just had my iPhone still, yeah, it would be a great improvement, but I feel like I'm growing up, which is a bit scary. I'm moving past the iPhone. And it's not to say I'm not going to use the iPhone anymore for content creation. This is going to be great for photos, for the telephoto stuff. It's going to be great. Stepping up to a 48 megapixel ultra wide, that's going to be really nice. Although I have wide angles on here, so it'll have a really, really good camera button. That had more functionality than I anticipated. That's going to be really cool. USB-C, again, that's a 15 feature. Honestly, I feel like most of the 16 features were on the 15 in terms of the ones that I'm excited about, including log. I can't wait to shoot log because I'm shooting D-Log-M on here.
It's long, it's better than that, it's good.
And I'm using some LUTs called Phantom LUTs. The guy who makes them is fantastic. I'll include a link in the description. I used some of them for Blue Nose. I love his film ones. It's a great look. I might be using one now. He also has ones that replicate the Ari Alexa, so maybe I'll switch to that here. Tech as a whole, I used to be really, really excited about it. There were times where I'd be staying up for hours trying to get all the info about the newest iPhone when I was a kid. And now, if it's at a point where I'm considering last year's, it makes me really sad. I feel like I am losing that part of my childhood when it comes to something exciting, an exciting piece of tech. Perfect instance is the PS5 Pro that was just announced. That has a design like Sony's trying to turn the PS5 into a Excelsior class starship.
Oh my!
For, what is it, $700 American? So that translates to what, close to 1,000 Canadian. You get, I guess, some slightly upgraded GPU, and then they were boasting about how much more detailed the graphics are. What is this? Congrats, Sony. You took your footage and put a crushed blacks and whites filter on there from Final Cut and called it a day. I don't see how this is more detailed. I don't see how I would shell out another $1,000, because mind you, when I got my PS5, that was during COVID. That was during all the supply issues, so I got scalped for mine. Not to mention bringing it back home and trying to dodge all the little kids trying to tackle me because I'm dragging a giant PS5 home and I'm terrified that it's going to be bricked because the serial number is going to be canceled on it, or it would have been stolen, or it could have just been a giant box of rocks. There's not that thrill if I get a PS5 Pro, which is not something I thought I would include as a testament to my PS5, but I guess it is that story. I have that unboxing and how terrified I was of it.
It was the most nervous I'd ever been for an unboxing.
This is the most nervous that I've ever been for an unboxing. So, yeah, iPhone, a little bit disappointing. PS5 Pro, definitely disappointing. Especially considering the fact that for the first time in years, I'm not playing as many video games anymore. I'm lucky if I'm playing, I don't know, 15 minutes of Star Trek Online just to get the event done. It doesn't help that I've kind of burnt myself out when it comes to Star Trek Online because of Blue Nose, which I think is a worthy compromise to make. I think the iPhone 16 Pro, when I do get it, and I'll make a video of it, I guess, it'll be a good companion to the Osmo, but the Osmo continues to surprise me, and I feel like I'm growing up with the Osmo. I'm learning more and more about filmmaking. It's pretty weird how I'm not as excited for 16 Pro, but I am excited for possibly getting an A7S III? Getting a big boy camera? Hell yeah. That's my growing up process with the Osmo. I'm still learning a lot, and I'm really happy to be learning something. I'm really happy to be investing in a hobby. I'm really happy to be taking this thing out to Harrison and putting it through its paces in a very run and gun type environment. Really excited the content I'm going to be able to get. I can't wait to test that microphone in a public situation. It's bittersweet saying goodbye to that sort of young, naive part of my life and having some tech that'll stick with me for the next 10 years of YouTube. I'm Sean Reimer. I don't rhyme. See you in Arkansas.